Hi YouTube, I built this pizza oven many years ago and luckily I took photos as I was building it. So in this video I'm just going to show you the various steps that it took to build this and then hopefully you could have a go at building one yourself. Okay, so I started off with these railway sleepers which I just positioned very simply like this just to form a square. Then I doubled up the height just with another layer, exactly the same. Then I filled them with bricks. I had a load of old bricks that I could use, but you could use rocks or something similar. Then I added these braces to the side and screwed them in. This is just to support the railway sleepers when you fill it with a lot of rubble. As you can see here, this was a lot of stones and things that I had in my garden, and I also went out with the car and just got a load of stones and things from elsewhere, and it was like a sort of a whole car full really. I'm quite lucky where I live because in my garden, if you dig down, there are limestone rocks everywhere. So I was able to use these limestone rocks to build a sort of a dry stone wall effect in a circle on the top here like this. I then added cement to the inside, smoothed it all round, and that makes it really strong and stops the rocks from falling out. You've got to be careful though to wear gloves when you do the cement, otherwise you get this happen. This is cement burns to the end of my fingers. This may not look painful, but it is very painful. So yeah, definitely wear gloves. Next I filled that whole section again with like just rubble, and then you can use sand or something or gravel on the top. Sand is quite useful because it just means that you can level it out quite easily like this with a spirit level. Just make it nice and flat, and then I've got this great big paving slab that I'm going to put on the top like this, and then you can use the spirit level again just to make sure that is nice and dead flat. Then I carried on with the dry stone wall effect, this time using smaller stones. Then I used some bits of broken tile that are nice and flat, and some more cement to fill in all the gaps between the dry stone wall and the paving slab, which looks like this when it's close up. Okay, this was a door that I managed to get on eBay. It's an old kiln door. This was the most expensive part of the build. It cost, I think, about £100, but it was totally worth it. It's a really heavy, nice old door. This was just me positioning it with some bricks just to see roughly what it was going to look like. I then sellotaped some bin bags together just to form a circle, and then you fill that with damp sand all the way up until it reaches this kind of height, and then you can do a dome on the top. This is why the sand has to be damp, so it makes it easier to shape a nice sort of dome shape on the top. I then covered the dome of sand with more bin bags and sellotape, stick it all together, and I then coated all of that with some just damp newspaper, a couple of coats of the newspaper, and then I just took various clays and sand like this. I don't think it particularly matters what type of clay you use, I just used whatever I could get hold of, but then you mix it together with sand, so you can see how I position it like this initially, and then you mix it all together using your feet, which is like being a kid again, is really good fun. I then form that mix into balls like this, and then bag them up to prevent them from drying out. Here they all are, all bagged up, ready for the next stage. So the next stage is to flatten all of the clay onto the dome, and you're trying to build a layer that is probably 1.5 to 2 inches thick. Then you can really spend some time firming it and making it nice and smooth. I then used a serrated kitchen knife just to cut the shape of the door, and then all of the sand can be removed from the middle, as well as the bin bags and newspaper lining. This is what it looks like when it's all hollowed out. This is a very satisfying stage to be at. And you can see what it looks like on the inside where all of the balls of clay were squashed together. You could now go on into the inside and smooth all of this out as well. And at this stage you really want this dome to start drying out, and typically I think it started to rain, so I just put this big umbrella over everything just to protect it while it dried. Okay, so you can see this next step is just about putting the chimney on and building the front out. So you form this kind of slight igloo kind of shape. Um, so what you do is position your chimney up on some bricks. That holds it in position while you build the front, and then you can let it all dry. Once it's dry, it all firms up, and then the chimney stays in place by itself without the bricks. I then started building this frame around it with a roof over the top to protect it from the elements. And these were just branches that I had that were covered in ivy that I stripped all the leaves off so they look a bit more like this. And then I just positioned them at the front of the pizza oven as sort of supports. Next it was back to mixing clay again. This time I was adding straw into the mix. This just makes it a lot firmer once it sets. It kind of provides a mesh inside of the clay, and it sticks it all together, makes it much harder. And this goes over the whole dome of the pizza oven, strengthening it all completely. Next I added some brackets to the cast iron door and put it roughly in place, holding it in position with some bamboo poles. This allowed me to use cement to make the rest of the front, which makes it much stronger for the chimney. I then cement the rest of the dome, and when the front has dried completely, I can open the door and test it. This is just to make sure the hinges work and that the door closes nice and firmly again afterwards. Then it's just a case of letting this cement dry on the dome. Then it's quite hard to see in this image, but what I've done is taken a whole load of broken tiles. I actually use roof tiles, and I've created like a mosaic effect over the whole dome. Again, like putting cement in between all of the tile fragments. Once that all dried, I just used some really rough sandpaper to go over the whole dome, and this just makes the tiles show up more, and the paler cement grout in between them gives it some nice contrast. And this is just a picture of a barbecue that I'd made actually a long time before I made the pizza oven. But it's quite nice just having this next to the pizza oven, and then we can do barbecues and pizzas at the same time. Okay, this is the finished pizza oven. This is the most recent photo that I've got of the whole area. Um, and it's a really good little pizza oven actually. Like when we cook in it, I've got like one of those meat thermometers, so I can stick it actually through a hole in the cast iron door to see what the temperature is, and it gets up to like 650 degrees in there. So it gets really hot, and at those kind of temperatures it means you can open the door, you can slide a pizza in, and a pizza will cook in like literally about 10-15 seconds, really fast. And after you've eaten the pizzas, like if you have pizzas at lunchtime, then you can actually put a big joint of meat in there and let it cook slowly for the rest of the afternoon, and that comes out lovely as well. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's given you some idea of how I built this pizza oven, and hopefully it might inspire some of you to build one of your own. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you like this kind of video, and then you can see more of my videos as I post them in the future.